The knock came just past midnight, sharp, unexpected, and a little desperate. Daniel froze. His 5-year-old son was asleep in the next room, curled up beneath a worn blanket. No one ever knocked this late, not in a building like this. Still, something in that sound felt urgent. He opened the door cautiously, and there she stood. Dressed in an elegant coat now dusted with rain, her eyes carried both exhaustion and quiet strength. She didn't belong here. Not in this narrow hallway, not in this struggling neighborhood. "Can I stay tonight?" she asked softly. Daniel blinked, caught off guard. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" She shook her head. "No. My car broke down. My phone's dead. I just need somewhere safe, for a few hours." Daniel hesitated. His apartment had one bedroom. One small couch. Barely enough space for the two of them, let alone a stranger. But then he glanced back, at his son's tiny shoes by the door, at the life he was trying to rebuild with kindness, not fear. He stepped aside. "I only have one bed," he said honestly. "You can take it. I'll sleep on the floor." Her eyes widened. "You'd do that for me?" Daniel shrugged, a faint smile forming. "Someone once helped me when I had nothing. Guess I'm just passing it on." She stepped inside slowly, looking around at the modest space, the warmth, the quiet dignity. And in that moment, something shifted inside her. Because what Daniel didn't know was that this woman wasn't just a stranger in need. She was a billionaire, someone who had everything. Except this kind of kindness. The apartment was small, but it felt warm. She sat on the edge of the bed Daniel had offered, her fingers brushing against the neatly folded blanket. Everything about this place spoke of quiet struggle, yet also of care. A single father doing his best. "Thank you," she said softly as Daniel spread a thin sheet on the floor. "It's nothing," he replied. "Just get some rest." But sleep didn't come easily to her. For years she had lived in luxury, penthouse views, private jets, people always saying yes. Yet tonight in this tiny room, she felt something unfamiliar, peace. A soft voice broke the silence. "Daddy?" Daniel turned quickly as his son, Liam, stood rubbing his eyes. "Hey, buddy. It's okay. Go back to sleep." But Liam noticed her. "Who's that?" Daniel hesitated. "Just someone who needed help." Liam smiled sleepily and walked closer. "You can have my teddy," he said, holding out a worn plush bear. "It helps when you're scared." Her breath caught. She accepted it gently, her eyes glistening. "Thank you, that means a lot." As Liam returned to bed, she looked at Daniel. "You've raised him well." Daniel sat quietly for a moment. "I just try to teach him what matters, even when we don't have much." She looked around again, at the cracked walls, the simple life, and the overwhelming kindness. And for the first time in years, she felt something money had never given her. Belonging. But morning was coming. And with it, the truth she hadn't told him yet. Morning light slipped gently through the thin curtains, filling the small apartment with a quiet glow. Daniel was already awake, carefully making breakfast, just toast and eggs, nothing fancy. He moved quietly, trying not to disturb his guest. But she was already sitting up, watching him. "You didn't have to do that," she said. He smiled lightly. "It's just breakfast." Liam ran in moments later, full of energy. "Good morning," he said, climbing onto the chair. Then he looked at her. "Did the teddy help?" She laughed softly. "It did. Thank you." For a moment, it felt like a normal morning, like she belonged there. But she knew she couldn't leave without saying something. "Daniel," she began, her tone shifting slightly. "There's something I need to tell you." He turned, sensing the seriousness in her voice. "I wasn't completely honest last night," she said. "My car didn't just break down. I was trying to get away. From my life." He frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" She took a deep breath. "I own one of the largest companies in the country. I'm a billionaire. Silence filled the room. Daniel blinked, then let out a small, disbelieving chuckle. That's quite a story. I'm serious, she said gently. My world is full of people, but none like you. None who would give up their only bed without expecting anything in return. Daniel looked at her for a long moment, then simply said, Doesn't really change anything. She was stunned. It doesn't? He shook his head. You needed help. That's all that mattered. And in that moment, she realized something powerful. To him, she wasn't a billionaire. She was just a human being. She had expected many reactions, shock, curiosity, even awkwardness. But not this. Daniel went back to pouring tea as if nothing had changed. Liam was busy telling her about his favorite cartoon. The world she had revealed didn't seem to matter here. You really don't care? She asked quietly. Daniel looked up, thoughtful. Should I? She hesitated. Most people would. He smiled faintly. Most people aren't raising a kid alone, trying to make sure he grows up kind in a world that isn't always fair. Money's important, sure, but it's not everything. His words landed deeper than anything she had heard in years. After breakfast, she stood near the door, holding her coat. I should go, she said softly. Liam ran up and hugged her. Will you come back? Her heart tightened. Maybe, she whispered. Then she turned to Daniel. You changed something in me, in just one night. He shook his head. You just needed a reminder. She reached into her bag, pulling out a sleek card. If you ever need anything. Daniel gently pushed her hand back. I didn't help you for that. For a moment, she just stared at him, at the man who had so little, yet refused to take anything in return. Then let me do this my way, she said, a quiet determination in her voice. He didn't understand what she meant. But as she stepped out into the morning light, one thing was certain. This wasn't the end of their story. It was only the beginning of something neither of them expected. Days passed, and life returned to normal, or so Daniel thought. Until one afternoon, there was another knock on the door. This time, it wasn't hesitant. Daniel opened it, and froze. Men in formal suits stood in the hallway. Behind them, she stepped forward, calm, confident, but different. Not just the woman from that night, but someone powerful. I hope I'm not intruding, she said with a soft smile. Daniel blinked. You're back. Liam rushed forward. You came, he shouted, hugging her tightly. She laughed, holding him close. I told you I might. Daniel looked confused. What's all this? She glanced around the small apartment, then back at him. I kept thinking about what you said, about kindness, about what really matters. One of the men stepped forward, handing Daniel a folder. He hesitated before opening it, and his eyes widened. It's a new home, she explained gently. A place where Liam can have his own room. Where you don't have to struggle like this anymore. Daniel's expression hardened slightly. I told you. I didn't help you for money. I know, she said quickly. That's exactly why you deserve it. He was silent. I'm not trying to repay you, she continued. I'm trying to honor what you gave me that night, something I lost a long time ago. Liam looked up at his father. Daddy, please? Daniel exhaled slowly, then looked at her, really looked at her. Not as a billionaire, but as someone who had been changed by a simple act of kindness. And finally, he nodded. Because sometimes, accepting help is also an act of humanity. And in that small apartment, a simple night of kindness had turned into something far greater. A reminder that even the smallest good deed can change two lives forever.